Welcome Trailblazers. It's Law Zero, my name is Zero and I would like to talk about Honkai Star Rail. Specifically about its world building and lore up until Penacony. No, I won't be talking about the story of the game, everyone knows that. And if you don't then go read it, it's awesome, trust me, but now let's get into it. Here are the things I will be talking about in this video. I will explain all the Eons, their factions, followers, paths and emanators. Then we will connect them with the simulated universe and with planets we know of so far. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so let's start with basic terms and concepts, so later it will be easier to explain more complex things. Eons are godlike, higher dimensional beings in the universe. Their visible form has been only witnessed by few, because it's assumed these beings are present in a different dimension. This is referenced in Dan Shu's diary, where she writes how Lan descended onto the physical plane, suggesting Lan wasn't present before Fu Xian's distress signal. The Xianzhou's Divination Commission sorts Eons into three categories. First one, the Arbiters, who determine mortal births and deaths and are highly connected to the rise and fall of civilizations. Lan and Clippeth are among these. Second one are the Sacrosancts, who are difficult to predict as good or evil, with their ultimate destinations often unknowable. Naus, Akivali, Aha and Adrilla are in this category. Third one is the Authors of Calamity, who are the main culprit behind all disasters. Yaosha, Nanook and Taziranth are here. According to Kofka, there are known ways for an Eon to die. Eons may kill other Eons. Paths with overlapping concepts eventually collide and the broader path swallows the narrower one. Aina, the order was assimilated by Zype, the harmony. Herta describes this as the survival of the fittest. However, there are examples of similar paths coexisting for different lengths of time. For example, the preservation with the remembrance, or the abundance with the propagation. Another thing to note is that Eons can only operate according to their so-called primum mobile, which basically means they can only do certain actions that aligns with their path and philosophies. Himiko describes this as a restriction that Eons must suffer. Though Akivali enjoyed a freedom similar to mortals despite being restricted by their primum mobile. The birth of an Eon gives birth to a path. Paths are mysterious concepts. Himiko says, they are like philosophical concepts, those who believe strongly enough in these concepts become pathstriders. Eons can use paths as they please and link to it for the rest of their existence. There are 7 playable paths as we know. Destruction, the hunt, erudition, harmony, nihility, preservation, and abundance. Though other paths are mentioned throughout the story. Trailblaze, elation, veracity, beauty, permanence, propagation, enigmata, equilibrium, finality, remembrance and the order. Now about emanators. They are pathstriders who have attained permission of their Eon to draw power from their chosen path. They are more powerful than a regular pathstrider. Every Eon has a different opinion about emanators. Some view it as the extension of themselves and grant them much power, while others have no interest in creating them. The Eon Aha is said to give out power at random in order to toy with mortals. Factions are most of the time tied to an Eon. They are basically groups of people with the same ideas and goals. Some factions are recognized by their Eon, some not. I want to talk about certain factions when we get to their corresponding Eon, but there are some that doesn't follow such beings. The Stellaron Hunters are one of these. They are humans and they are both our enemy and ally in the story. The members are Elio, Sam, Kofka, Silver Wolf, and Blade. The organization travels around in the universe to hunt down Stellarons that we know are dangerous. Cancer of all worlds said by the IPC. The Stellaron Hunters are said to work against the IPC aka Interastral Peace Corporation. Elio, their leader, is nicknamed as Destiny's Slave by the IPC, because he possesses the ability to foresee future possibilities. He uses scripts to guide his hunters in their missions. The other one is the Intergalactic Merchant Guild, that we know so little of. Luocha is a member of it. Now that we know the basics, let's get into each Eon. There are 18 eons we know of, so I will start with the ones that has a playable path. The main 7 if you will. Nanook represents the path of destruction. They and the Antimatter Legion are the main antagonist of the game. Nanook has many titles, names. Ruin Author, Blemished One, Supreme Executioner, Monarch of Extinction. If the increase of entropy is a fundamental law of the universe, then the heat death would be the inescapable destiny of the material world. So, why is it that we bother to struggle to survive? Expansion, fusion, and then annihilation. If we wish to welcome the new, then we must first embrace the end. The destruction claims that the birth of the universe is a mistake. If civilization is a cancer emerging quietly from the boundless stars, then war is the only common language known to all intelligent life. Correct this mistake, and to clean up this tainted universe, Nanook became the avatar of entropy. Nanook witnessed their home planet's infection by the Swarm and the Mechanical Empire. They sought to destroy all creations. After ascending to Eonhood, they ignited their home world, Adliven. It's only an obsidian hellscape now. Adliven was a planet in the Adliven system. It was known as the Diamond World. During the war, Akivali arrived there and saw the inhabitants still fighting the remaining descendants of Taziranth. Nanook is the most recently ascended Eon, though they are now the greatest menace in all the galaxy. Nanook have Imanters. They recruited them from the worlds they have destroyed. They are called Lord Ravagers. We know 4 of them by name: Fantilia, Zephyro, Selenova, and Iron Tomb. The Destruction's main faction is the well-known Antimatter Legion. It's a massive, intergalactic army of monsters that were created on Warforge. Their goal is to help Nanook destroy all life and civilization. Warforge is a scorching world of lava, volcanoes, and molten magma. The Firesmiths there hammer and smelt the Legion's fighting forces. The Doomsday Beast was made there. Another faction we just learned about is the Annihilation Gang. Their leader, Ifrit aka Duke Inferno, was born when Nanook destroyed a white star named Fatora. The Eon, however, has never glimpsed at them. Ifrit seeks the gaze of its creator, trying to impress them. The Annihilation Gang is too selfish in its destruction though to be blessed by their Eon. Not long ago we learned that Penacony, our next stop in our journey, sent an invitation to Ifrit. The members are Ifrit, Akash, Jubra, Katarina, and Constance. In the simulated universe, Herta says she doesn't understand why Nanook was born, when Terminus as the finality was already present. She asks, is the destruction not included in the finality? In an occurrence we can meet Nanook, but we are killed by them on an instant. Herta says it's because Nanook has never met Akivali before, but she didn't expect them to attack us. Lan, also known as the Rainbow Arbiter or God of the Skybow, is representing the hunt. The Eon known as the Rainbow Arbiter wanders endlessly between worlds to destroy the undead beings that once poisoned their homeworld. The cost of the hunt was never a consideration for Lan. There is often no difference between the salvation they offer and total destruction. Lan has an intense hatred towards Yaosha, the abundance, and the undead abominations, immortal beings created by them. Lan's purpose is to hunt them all down. They are driven by the devastation the abundance caused on their homeworld. In contrast with other Eons, Lan pays attention to mortals. Lan often appears before them, though they are too fast to be seen clearly. Their first appearance was around year 3400 of the star calendar with their sky-shattering Lux arrow severing the abundance's ambrosial arbor. Lan is described as a tall, valiant prince with a crown in the simulated universe. They possess centaur-like features, taking form of a man combined with an equine below the waist, while the hind legs are replaced by wheels of a chariot. Lan was a mortal before the Three Sufferings era. He led the Xianju army against the Heliobi, who formed a red microstar to capture the Xianju fleet. The planting of the ambrosial arbor on the Xianju Luorfu brought celebration and joy for the immortality it promised. However, the Rainbow foresaw the devastation it would cause to Xianju, possibly with the help of the Wisdom Walker aka Naus, the Erudition. When they tried to warn the others of this future, they were mocked and labeled as insane. To show their resolve, they shot the ambrosial arbor, leading to their conviction. The aristocrats who had eaten the fruit were enraged, but awed by the Rainbow's heroic exploits and prestige, could only sentence them to continual hibernation in cryo-sleep pods. However, when the people couldn't hold on longer against the abundance and the Heliobi, they released Rainbow and asked for their help. The Rainbow's arrow, borrowing the power of the Flint Emperor, destroyed the ambrosial arbor, penetrated the almighty beast and severed the connection between the Luorfu and the giant tree Muldrasil of the Wingweavers. This ripped open a fissure into the void and a monstrous wave of imaginary force spewed from it, affecting every ship of the Xianzhu Alliance. After the battle, the Rainbow disappeared and rose to Eonhood, becoming Lan, the Hunt. Muldrasil was a living artificial tree-shaped world where the Wingweavers previously resided. It was described as a star devourer. It was destroyed by the Antimatter Legion around 5320 star calendar, which the Xianzhu Alliance observed but did not stop or facilitate. The surviving Wingweavers have since been reduced to mercenaries and intergalactic pirates, although the Xianzhu Yuke suspects that the Wingweavers' Peacock Legion may be trying to revive it. Not gonna lie, this Xianzhu lore is pretty confusing and hard to understand for me, so I might do a deeper dive into it in a different video. What matters is that Lan was a mortal warrior before Ascension and they saved the Xianzhu from the Abundance and Heliobi. Lan granted the Arbiter General of the Luorfu the Lightning Lord Spirit. Currently Jin Yuan commands the Lightning Lord. The avatar of Lan is described as enveloped in golden lightning. The Hunt's main faction is the Xianzhu Alliance. It's an ancient, spacefaring civilization. It has a flagship, 6 fleets called Hexafleet. Every fleet has an Arbiter General. Jin Yuan is the General of the Luorfu. It also has 6 commissions: Skyfaring Commission, Divination Commission, Realm-Keeping Commission, Artisanship Commission, Alchemy Commission, 10 Lords Commission. Yukong is the Helm Master of the Luorfu Skyfaring Commission and Fu Xian is the Master Diviner of the Luorfu Divination Commission. Known races in the Xianzhu Alliance are the Natives, the Foxians, the Vidyadhara, and Outworlders. The Vidyadhara has their own High Elders. Imbibita Luni was the High Elder of the Xianzhu Luorfu. Playable characters and their post. Yanqing and Suzhang are Cloud Knights. Tingyun was in the Skyfaring Commission. Qingqiu is part of the Divination Commission. Bailu is in the Alchemy Commission. Hanya, Shui, and Huohua are members of the 10 Lords Commission. The other faction of the Hunt is the Galaxy Rangers. They don't hate the abundance. This group admires Lan's policy of using violence against violence and the Eon's swift decisiveness regarding punishment, believing the benevolence and justice of the universe need to be upheld via personal action. The Galaxy Rangers formed into a group of heroes, walking the path of the Hunt, and roam the universe thanks to the blessings of the Eon. They went from planet to planet upholding justice for the locals, hunting down evil, then embarking on new journeys. The successful assassination of a Lord Ravager, Zulo, first brought the Galaxy Rangers their fame. And many years later, a Ranger thwarted the atavistic experiment of the 64th member of the Genius Society, Dr. Primitive. But after that, these Galaxy Rangers gradually faded out of sight in the cosmos. Rumor has it that they fell victim to Dr. Primitive's vengeance. Fun fact: Jin Yuan's dream as a kid was to become a Galaxy Ranger. Known members of the group are La Mancha, their leader, Loretta, and Akron, who is self-proclaimed. Yaosha represents the abundance. Ask with feeling, and you shall receive. Yaosha is the nurturer of lives, the god of eternal paradise. Their desire is to ensure the perpetual existence of life. Yaosha is an Eon who answers all prayers and cannot bear to see death and the pains of illness. Yaosha's benevolent nature led them to grant their blessing upon anyone who seeks immortality. However, the consequences of these blessings often result in a fate worse than death. Yaosha is described as a figure with 6 arms and a scorpion-like hooked tail, along with hair similar to that of a magpie's feather in the simulated universe. They have antlers resembling branches sprouting from their head and slits of red eyes, with black sclera on parts of their body. The Xianzhu Alliance, a fleet of 9 ships, embarked on a lone voyage to seek out Yaosha for immortality. After finding Yaosha, the Xianzhu Luorfu was gifted with the Ambrosial Arbor, a giant tree that took root on the ship. The ancestors of the Luorfu people ate its fruits and became a long-life species. However, this came with a heavy price. What followed was population expansion and diminishing resources. Other beings attacked the Xianzhu to take their sacred artifact and countless atrocities were committed. Those who survived the war realized they were susceptible to Mara, a condition long-life species suffer, turning them into beasts. They began to resent it. A faction in the Xianzhu called the Disciples of Sanctus Medicus continued to worship Yaosha, even though the people of the world officially turned to Lan. These people are hiding in the shadows. We encountered them often during our visit. Fun fact, Wanmai's home planet is blessed by the abundance. Herta talks about Yaosha in the simulated universe. Does Yaosha the Abundance actually understand their actions and consequences? People across the universe hold polarized views on this. One party thinks Yaosha does know of the consequences, but does not care. Another party believes Yaosha is tightly constrained by their path and cannot receive information outside of the path. I gave some serious thought to this question when I wrote the chapter on abundance in my book How I Joined the Genius Society, and my final conclusion was, I don't know. Yaosha has the ability to grant immortality, however everything has a price. Immortal beings are more easily affected by Mara and they can turn into beasts. The Abundance follower factions are the Denizens of Abundance, also known as the Abominations of Abundance, are a group of several long-life species following the Aeon Yaosha, having been blessed with immortality. And the Elixir Seekers, who seek the blessing of the Abundance, begging for immortality to save their own civilizations from their end. Also the Unshackled, who follow Yaosha by rescuing life forms from dangerous situations and releasing them into the wild. Unlike other factions associated with the Abundance, the Unshackled are largely non-violent and law-abiding, so they are allowed on the Xianzhu, but their tendency to release dangerous animals has caused some trouble for the Luorfu's Realm-Keeping Commission. Qliphoth is representing the preservation. Their titles are Amber Lord and Firmament Arbiter. Qliphoth is one of the oldest known Aeons. They are known for their indifference. They usually only share their power with fanatics. They are the builder of the Celestial Comet Wall, the Subspace Crystalline Barrier, and the Great Attractor Base. They survived the Dusk Wars. Aware of the imminence of their mortal enemies devouring, the Amber Lord forged a powerful light-years-long seal that would isolate and protect the living worlds. Qliphoth's mission as the preservation is to isolate planets from each other, preserve what's there, protect planets from the enemy. Qliphoth is a legless humanoid made of rocks and minerals with a halo behind their head. Estimated around 2,158 Amber Eras ago, Qliphoth ascended to become the Aeon of the Preservation during the Dusk Wars, sworn to construct walls to defend the universe against the Leviathans. During the Swarm disaster, Aina, the Order, asked Qliphoth for help. Qliphoth and Aina made a deal that Qliphoth would help the other Aeons against the Swarm. Qliphoth broke down the Swarm into fragments, then sealed them in amber. The main faction of the Preservation is the IPC, aka Interastral Peace Corporation. Despite that, though, the IPC goes against the desires of the Aeon, facilitating civilized trade and contact between the stars. And it seems like they are not being punished for it. It's a mega-corporation overseeing the economy of the entire cosmos. The members we know of are Topaz and Aventurin. Their headquarters are in Pier Point. The IPC created the Amber Era Kaeldar based on Qliphoth. Time started when the Aeon was born, and every new Amber Era comes when Qliphoth swings their hammer during construction. The game began in 2157 Amber Era, and after Jarilo 6, it was already 2158 Amber Era. Every Amber Era is ranging between 76 to 240 Trailblaze years. The other faction of the Aeon is the Architects. They are an intergalactic faction, meaning they are present on different planets. They work hard to construct walls around their homeland. We met the Architects on Jarilo 6, where Kokolia was the supreme guardian of Balubog. Serval is a former member. Naus, the erudition, was an astral computer said to be created by Xander, the first Genius Society member, before their ascension to Aeonhood. All things bear unanswered questions, and there is an answer to everything. The astral computer originally meant to provide answers to the universe. Naus hopes to understand the universe and solve all of its mysteries. Naus doesn't provide solutions. They ask the right questions, but one must discover the answers themselves. Naus has many titles like Droidhead, Wisdom Walker, and Monarch of Myriad Machines. Naus is a humanoid robotic head with ripped cables and red lights implanted on the side of their head. in connection with the Xianju Alliance. The Divination Commission uses Nao's insight in both simple and complicated divinations. Fu Xian is granted with Nao's eye, meaning she can foresee future threats. It's called omniscia. Bad news for Fu Xian is that since she's a native to the Xianju, her body constantly rejects the third eye and is causing her pain. In the simulated universe, Herta said before joining the Genius Society, the future members get to meet with the Aeon. The erudition is followed by the Genius Society as its main faction. It's an intergalactic organization. Its 84 members were personally selected by the Aeon. Many often misinterpret the invitation as only an approval. The few who are able to understand the Aeon's intentions are given a key to the halls of the Naos Temple. Those who pass through the gates would seek guidance from Naos and leave behind their legacy to never return. The members are so different from each other in every account. Most of them are antisocial and refuse to share their research with others. Playable members of this faction are Herta and Wan Mai, but others are often mentioned in the story like Screwlum, Dr. Primitive, Elias Salas, Yu Qingtu, Polka, or Circle, just to name a few. The other faction is the Intelligentsia Guild. It's basically a school system for scholars to do research. It's funded by the IPC. Dr. Ratio is a member of it. Zype is the Aeon of Harmony. They have the Mother of All Stars as a title. Zype is a mix of thousands of entities from harmonious worlds that preach the joy of human harmony. Zype presents as a serene periwinkle-skinned humanoid with 3 faces, 2 on either side of the head and 1 on the front. The faces are framed with lengthy white curtain bangs and are each adorned with a circlet. Zype's extensive swathe of hair is colored white with a twinkling dark purple ombre. A bright amalgamation of colors flares behind their head, reminiscent of a halo. Their body, which seems to be made of scattering puzzle pieces, is covered by a form-fitting raiment that is decorated with blue and purple expressions of the cosmos. The outfit's skirt flows long past their feet, and their neck and torso are wrapped firmly in a lattice of gold decorations. As I said earlier, Zype swallowed Aina, the Order, because their paths were too similar. The Harmony has only one faction, the Family, and its location is Penacony. The residents of worlds that have received Zype's blessing, they sing endlessly about their Aeon's generosity, and believe that the universe will eventually become a single harmonious entity. The big family consists of 5 smaller ones. Gallagher is in the Bloodhound family and Firefly is in the Iris family. Other members we know are Sunday and Robin. 9 is the Aeon of Nihility. The existence of Nihility is a mystery itself, enshrouded by layers of mist. 9 doesn't interact with the other Aeons. They believe that the ultimate fate of the multiverse is nothingness, and therefore, worthless. Just being near the Aeon can make anyone feel numb. 9 is a cosmic black hole with 2 white dots like eyes. Herta talks about 9 and the Annihilation Gang in the simulated universe. I recall a story about the Nihility. Some people had once tried to assassinate 9. Those were the Annihilation Gang, trash who were too scared to join the Legion but still wanted to wreak havoc with Nanook. They had a mad idea about wanting to be the first humans to kill an Aeon. They thought 9 might be easy to handle because the Aeon is peaceful and thinks there is no purpose to the universe, paths, and life. Apparently, with the assistance of another Aeon, they really did launch their plan to assassinate 9. As expected, nobody heard from this gang ever again. This story is pretty much pointless except for this: the Aeon that helped the Annihilation Gang was Aha the Elation. Aha thought these people had a fun idea, so they lent these humans their power for a while. Doctors of Chaos is a faction under Nihility. They are trying to prove that everything has meaning. They are basically the total opposite of what 9 is the representation of. The other faction is Device 9. Legend has it that a mysterious faction known as Device 9 lurks in the empty reflections of void, difficult to be perceived by the material world. Those who gaze into the void for a long time will gradually be drawn to the dark energy overflowing in the abyss, eventually passing through the dark web that separates reality from nothingness. This legend has yet to be proven, though. The most prestigious geniuses in the universe attempted to solve this mystery, challenging Device 9 with no results. Why was this organization created? What are its goals? How many members does it have and what do they do? Does Device 9 truly exist? The answer is as empty as the question itself. The third faction is called self-annihilators. The name explains a lot. In the name of everything is meaningless, they give up and cease to exist. Now that we know the playable paths and their eons, we can take a look at non-playable ones. Let's start with Aha, the Eon of Elation. The Eon of Joy is unpredictable, they take pleasure in the sharp turns of fate. They think joy is a right of sentient beings. Aha inspires their believers to delight in the joys of life. Aha is closer to mortals, they enjoy causing minor changes in their lives, creating chaos. Aha takes a form of an obscured human figure holding circus-like props. Herta about Aha in the simulated universe. According to poor Elias Sala's records, Aha once turned a noblesse worm into their emanator and granted the worm fathomless intelligence. Just to see if noblesse worms could enter the genius society, the answer was no. For this pointless experiment, the Elation gave the entirety of their path's power to a worm that doesn't even have a fully developed brain, and then just discarded the creature once it had outlived its purpose. Without the Eon's blessing, the worm died instantly and tragically. I don't know why Elias Salas recorded this in such great detail. Maybe he was shocked by this. Aha wanted to trick Akivali and the Nameless, so Aha shapeshifted into a human and laid low on Akivali's Express for more than a year, then finally got the opportunity and blew up half the Express and an entire planet. The Elation has two factions. One is the Masked Fools. It's an intergalactic organization. The Masked Fools tell a parable of the birth of their beloved Eon. When the Eon of Elation climbed to the highest branch on the tree of existence, they saw the cold and despicable void, the stars operating like machinery, and how the meaning of all things bows before nothingness. They continued looking until they saw a baby fall to the ground and cry because it had been wronged. The Eon burst into laughter, laughter so clear it tore through the cold universe and still reverberates through the universe today. The fools believe that the truth of the world is a joke, and that the ultimate meaning of all things lies in mere laughter. The universe is merciless, but there is joy to eliminate pain, dilute sorrow, resist nihilism, and heal wounds. Laughter, the gift of intelligent races, is the only answer. Masked fools are extremely radical when it comes to their beliefs among the followers of Elation. In their pursuit of pleasure, they do whatever it takes to find it, often causing havoc wherever they go. They laugh at heroes for self-righteousness, kings for their lust of power, lovers for their infatuation, and scholars for their overthinking. The fool's objective is to stir the stagnant pool of life to create surges and change, because change is a source of mockery and amusement to the fools. It would be a welcome sight if someone could turn the tables on them. Sampo, Sparkle, and Giovanni are members of it. The other faction is the Mourning Actors. The members resist the path of Elation even though their power comes from Aha regardless. Mourning Actors are firm believers against Elation. They believe life is full of ups and downs, that agony makes people mature but fleeting joy only offers hopeless and unreachable temptation. Cheap entertainment is a narcotic for humans to lose themselves in. All beings should renounce joy and endure grief to temper their spirits. To this end, these people formed a theatre troupe of sorrow. The actors ride a gondola that spans the stars to perform. They collect and wear masks from different worlds, symbolizing the races that have passed and those that have not. At the same time, they record the sorrows of intelligent life. They compose magnificent tragedies for heroes facing their end, and sing graceful elegies for dying stars. Mourning actors advocate celibacy and penance, hoping this would go against the path of Elation and dilute the sweet allure that the Elation has been able to provide to the universe. However, joy and sadness are two sides of the same coin. Their very essence is engraved into the souls of all beings. The Eon of Elation sees the potential strength in the beauty of tragedy. Perhaps out of fondness for their wicked sense of humor, Aha blessed these people with Eonic powers, playfully helping them spread their renunciation of joy across many star systems. Our next Eon is Fuli, representing the remembrance. They record all that has been forgotten and prepare for the rebirth of the universe. No one knows of Fuli's birth or origins. Although they are present in almost every significant event of the universe, they rarely appear in front of mortals. Fuli manifests as a humanoid figure carved out of a reflective crystal material wearing a mienguan. About Fuli in the simulated universe. There are plenty of mysterious eons in the universe, and Fuli is particularly enigmatic. Nobody in the entire Genius Society and IPC knows when they were even born. The Eon of Remembrance had quietly appeared in the annals of the universe as if they were meant to be here, as if they had altered everyone's memory. Fuli rarely present themselves before mortals. According to video evidence, they usually look like a humanoid figure carved out of crystal, with indistinguishable facial features and wearing a diadem with a curtain of pearls covering their face. The appearance of Fuli the Remembrance always signals an important event is about to happen, but I think maybe the cause and effect should be flipped. Perhaps Fuli only shows up to record that event in the universe's memories. The Remembrance has two factions. In the Garden of Recollection, its members act as messengers for the Remembrance. They surrender their worldly bodies and traverse the universe in the form of memories. Their goal is to search the stars on Fuli's behalf to find the most precious memories, and to make sure the universe is remembered in the face of the destruction. Memory bubbles are developed by the Garden of Recollection to preserve memories. Light cones are also developed there. Those also preserve memories, but they are more advanced. They not only preserve memories, but experiences and abilities. Known members are Messenger and Black Swan. The other faction is the Cremators. They are hiding among the memo keepers working in the garden. They think there are different qualities and priorities of memories in the world. The Cremators believe that they bear the duty of filtering memories for the Eon. They steal the stored memories that memo keepers have gathered and rank them in order of importance. The ones that they deem worthy are returned to the collection, whereas the ones arbitrarily deemed unworthy are completely destroyed, never to be found again. The Cremators claim that they are cleaning out the garbage in hopes of relieving some of Fuli's burdens, and contributing to the Eon's glorious work of making a pure land of memories. However, the Garden of Recollection scoffed and saw no reason for their actions, for even the smallest shard of memory in the universe holds has a reason to exist. No mortal has the right to judge the value of memory. Our next Eon is Tasiranth, the Propagation. They have died prior to the game's events. Tasiranth is the creator of the Swarm disaster. They represent infinite propagation that was ignited out of a desire born from loneliness. Their existence and the Swarm indirectly caused the birth of Nanook. Tasiranth was killed by multiple Eons. The Propagation's only faction is the Swarm. The members are flying, for winged insects, Ouroboros. The Veracity is both an Eon and a Leviathan. They are devourer of worlds. Currently no one knows where they are. Aina represented the Order before they were assimilated by Zype. Aina was one of the most ancient Eons. They ensured the order of the universe, not tolerating any sign of chaos. Aina was a trunkless puppet veiled with tattered cloth, crystal gazing into an orb containing the cosmos. They possessed a golden halo crown and giant eye behind them, information from the simulated universe. Wherever their divine traces appeared, it was always accompanied by the ethereal melodies of the Beyond the Sky Choir. These harmonious notes, meticulously arranged within a three-dimensional framework, form a holy hymn of Aina's own voice. The Order's faction is the Beyond the Sky Choir. The once solemn chords fell silent and the stars turned mute. Only a few records, made by the choir's devoted audiences, remain in this world today. When these records are placed within specific phonographs, you will hear songs from the end of the universe, sounds that contain the beauty of order. Akivali, the Cloud Strider, represented the path of the Trailblaze. They have died before the game's events. They departed from the isolated world of Pegana, wanting to explore the unknown edges of the universe, trying to find an endpoint of the Tree of Existence. Akivali created the Astral Express to transport themselves and the Nameless across the galaxy. Their creation of the Star Rail network connected distant galaxies together and facilitated communication between them. The remnants of these star tracks are still used by the Interastral Peace Corporation and the Xianju Alliance today as safe routes. Of all the known Eons, Akivali was the closest to mankind. They were recorded living among them. After the disappearance of the Eon, the Express was broken down for thousands of years before Himiko discovered and repaired it. The Nameless is a faction of the Trailblaze. They follow Akivali's idea to travel the galaxy. The Astral Express crew is a sub-faction of it. The members are Himiko, Welt, Danheng, March 7th, Pompomenas, the Trailblazer. Idrilla was the Eon of the Beauty. It is said that their looks varied depending on who saw them, showing the person who they find most beautiful. According to an ancient myth, Idrilla once claimed sole attribution for the beauty of all the star zones. They showcase the meaning and aesthetics within the cosmic landscape to heroes, villains, and mortals, driving them to accomplish astonishing but often devastating achievements for a driller's own pleasure. This myth potentially unveils the true significance behind the path of beauty, the integration of consciousness, insight, and values. The beauty's main faction is the Knights of Beauty. They chant beautiful hymns on their mounts and endlessly roam the universe, extolling a driller's name. The Knights of Beauty are extremely self-disciplined and abide by an obsolete code of chivalry. They believe that only through a perfectly refined body, mind, and spirit can they become truly worthy of worshipping a driller. The source of their power is unknown. Argenti is a member of it. The other faction is the Mirror Holders. They believe that the downfall of the god of beauty was an ancient metaphor symbolizing the shattering of people's views on beauty, crumbling like a collapsed tower into rubble and bricks. Therefore, the goal of the Mirror Holders takes on another significance. When conceptions of beauty are reunified, all disputes and strife will disappear. They believe the eon they worship will be perfect and complete again, and the universe will become whole. This may not be a mere delusion, as the Mirror Holders possess a series of items named Mirrors of Transcendence. These mirrors do not reflect the material world, but instead reflect what is considered by the beholder as beauty, and project that into reality. As the Mirror Holders recounted themselves, these mirrors were fragments of a driller's divine form. When the god of beauty died, their fragments were scattered to the cosmos. The wandering Mirror Holders tried their best to find clues and recapture these fragments, hoping to one day piece everything back together and let beauty return to the world. Long, the Permanence, was the progenitor of all dragons. They are deceased. Their goal was to find the meaning of life. Long had the appearance of a Chinese dragon, possessing a snake-like body with 4 limbs. Long's descendants are the Vidyadhara, Long's scions. They are spread throughout countless worlds. Mythos represents the path of the Enigmata. Their form is unknown. Mythos thinks that entities with finiteness are incapable of envisioning the true infinity, so everything remains enigmatic. Essentially, Mythos's goal is to erase knowledge, language, and history. The Enigmata has 2 factions. The Riddlers are deconstructing language. They create metaphors, alter word orders and meanings. The other faction is the History Fictionologists. They erase and destroy history across the cosmos. They are also a group of emanators. They are determined to shroud the universe in mystery. Who is the Eon of Equilibrium? Their form is unknown and their goal is to achieve ideal balance in the universe. They are one of the oldest eons. In the simulated universe, we hear that the reason behind their division into 2 halves remains beyond my comprehension. They separate concepts, splitting all beings into an interchangeable duality, thus fusing all positives and negatives in the universe into an equilibrial whole. They are always so symmetrical and so equal. If we were to rank those most sublime beings, only the Veracity and the Permanence can stand toe-to-toe with the Equilibrium's antiquity. Oh, and also the Order. After Aina disappeared, the Equilibrium's duties have only grown greater. Then, how would who perceive Nanook? The Equilibrium has only one faction, the Arbitrators. The Arbitrators admired Hua's ideas, praising their eternal focus and patience. But universal laws have no control over time and space, and mortals can only pursue the beauty of equilibrium in a secular world by the elimination of radical extremes, beauty and ugliness, joy and sorrow, good and evil, love and hatred. Countless opposing concepts were created and interpreted to satisfy the Arbitrators' obsession with a zero-sum universe. But the rules of mortals are always riddled with flaws. Out of desperation, the Arbitrators were constantly forced over the inexorable passage of time to patch up past fallacies and mistakes, forever shifting the hopes of equilibrium onto the next patch. Who watches on in silence, knowing that the restoration of order could never be shaken in the slightest by such vulgar mortal drama? Terminus is the Eon of Finality. They move backward in time, murmuring a prophecy destined to be fulfilled. We don't know much about the Eon itself, but the Finality has 2 factions. The Omen Vanguards believe that Terminus represents the end of the universe. They are dedicated to drawing prophecies from Terminus's obscure words. The other faction is the Creed Exequi. They are worshippers of the Eon. They await their once-in-a-lifetime encounter. Now we know of every Eon that is mentioned in the game. And we connected many planets and worlds to Eons, however there are more of them mentioned across the story. So let's talk about planets. Punklord is a cyberworld. We can learn about it in the simulated universe via the Punklord mentality curio. Life is just a game. This sentence is no mere jest for hackers from the cyberworld Punklord. They traverse the internet and use a technology known as ether editing to alter reality, making life into a great game. Occasionally, the cream of the crop among them gets to soar away from the planet and use the vast cosmos as the second stage beyond the tutorial area. This cassette tape records the story of a legendary hacker. His life began in Punklord's underground water reservoirs and ended in the company of the Galaxy Rangers. It is said that the funeral was a quiet one, with only a game cassette silently lying atop the coffin, serving as a footnote of "finished the game" at the hacker's final rites. Silver Wolf is from here. Hombert Sigma used to be a barren planet covered in dark soot. Primitive algae, fungi, and lichen maintained an atmosphere that barely even supports animal life. Most of the endemic species in the planet would pose a threat to humanity if they were to live here. However, the planet was later populated by humans after the discovery of valuable mineral ores by the Interastral Peace Corporation. The IPC didn't keep a tight eye on this planet. Unless if the workers are charged with criminals, as long as they pay taxes, their freedoms won't be restricted. The Klimt Republic was said to be made by Akivali when they made the Star Rail. The Star Rail helped them reach their ever-summer paradise. In gratitude for Akivali, they selected warriors and embarked on trailblazing expeditions to transform dead worlds into living ones. About a millennium has passed since its foundation. They've seen 17 star systems, with a vast territory and rich products. For that reason, the nation's Prime Minister and Council sends judges to help ratify laws and regulations tailored to each of the differing local conditions. There is an educational institution called the Royal Academy of Laws that trains doctors of law. Batuta claims they have an efficient government, honest officials, and upstanding people. Planet Scroolum is a world owned by Scroolum, member 76 of the Genius Society. It is powered by a planetary engine, referred to as the Steel Sun by the inhabitants of the planet. The planet's core is contained in a cage composed of countless levers, pistons, and gears. Inside the core is a gigantic gear called the Celestial Differentiator that processes punch tape, methodically repeating calculations. There live the Scroolumites, mechanical beings. Their goal is to find an answer to their origin. They are always optimistic, rational, and elegant. Many inventors live there. Rahu had become a dead planet long ago, but sometime after the destruction of Muldrassil around year 5320 of star calendar, Shuhu, an emanator of Yaosha, granted life back to the planet. In year 6300 star calendar, Rahu devoured a Xianju flagship. Salsotto is a world that is ruined and abandoned with no life on it. Himiko found Welt and Luochar here. Salsotto has too much lore to cover it now. There are other worlds with major lore like Talia, Thalassa, and Vonwag, so I will make a video about these 4 planets. The Blue is an oceanic planet orbited by the Herta space station. Herta describes the Blue as her planet. I think that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you next time.